Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Darshawn McAway. Today we have a special guest. We have Alison McBain, and she's here to talk to us about her latest book, Author versus AI. I gotta hear what's going on with this one. Allison, how you doing?
Good. Thanks so much for having me on your show.
No problem. So before we talk about your book, let me get some information about you. Um, Before you started writing, what were you doing before you started writing?
I was a mom. I still am actually,
Okay.
but yeah, I was a stay-at-home mom,
Okay.
and after my second daughter was born, I was like, wow, I'm going sort of nuts at home.
Uh-huh.
I don't have a lot of conversation, so I started writing, and it just sort of took off from there.
Okay. So what got you into writing? What was the inspiration?
I always loved to write, actually.
Okay.
I just didn't think that, maybe my stuff was good enough. So I didn't think about sending it out. But again, with mom brain, I was like, well, maybe it's good enough now. Who
hmm hmm
knows?
So
And it was.
so so let's do this then. Let's talk about author versus AI. What was the inspiration behind this?
Well, it's not just one book. It's
Okay.
actually a project that I took on last year.
Okay.
So in 2024, after having a conversation with a friend who was like, "Wow, you're a fast writer. I've written my own books. I'm also a ghostwriter. I've written other people's books." He was like, "Well, why don't you write a bit more for yourself? Why don't you do something crazy? I know you're a fast writer." And about the same time, AI has been on everyone's mind, right?
Right.
Who's a creator, a musician, an artist, a writer, AI is sort of encroaching into our creative sphere, and it's worrisome. So I started this project, Author versus AI, because I wanted to show that a human writer could write almost as fast as a computer, but much, much better.
Okay.
So I
Yeah. You know what? I agree with that. I would say so when you say much better, do you mean more authentic to reach the
um
reader?
Definitely more authentic. But also just there's a lot of stuff that AI is not good at. AI is not good at dialogue. It's not good at human emotions. Maybe eventually it'll be better, but right now you can't get that same type of authenticity with AI writing. So one of my goals was to write a book a week.
Okay.
Sounds a bit crazy. I ended up writing 34 books.
Oh wow. That is okay. So what was the last book of the 34?
The last book was a holiday romance. It was a right around the holidays. Oh no, wait, that was the second to last book. There were so
Okay.
many.
You're right,
It's
right,
hard
right,
to
right.
remember.
And you were doing that because you're trying to prove a point that you're better than AI.
Yeah, and also along the way, like I talked to a lot of authors in my job as an editor, and a lot of writers, especially new writers, were sort of downhearted about AI. Like, why should I write a book if AI is just going to do it for me?
Right.
Why should I even try?
Right.
So I wanted to be have my project be inspiring. And it was. I've had a lot of authors say, you know what? This is great. I am going to go out. I am going to finish writing my book. I am going to try it. Like, if you can do this crazy, impossible thing, then I'm going to try it too.
Right. I think that's very challenging, very inspirational as well. Um, and what genre is the author versus AI?
Oh, it's all genres. So
Okay.
that was part of my plan was to make sure that I covered as many genres as I possibly could.
Okay.
So everything from fantasy to science fiction to mystery to literary, even a short story collection. I didn't tackle poetry, but it's hard to fill up a whole book of poetry, I
Right.
think.
Right.
Yeah.
So okay. So in writing, how do you take yourself there? Like, what's that moment that you say, "All right, I had enough of the world. Let me go tackle this book." Like, what gets you to that point to have pen go to pad or fingers to typewriter?
Well, I see it as a job, so it
Okay.
it is my job, you know. So no matter what, I sit my butt in the chair and I write, pretty much every day. And I allot a certain amount of time, or I'm one of my goals is like a certain word count. And when I'm done, then I'm done, and I can go off and do other stuff.
Okay. Any interest in turning this book into or any one of the series or the short books into like a movie or a little TV show or anything like that?
Oh, that's what every author wants. It's
Yeah.
very, you know, yeah, we'd always love to, see our work go into different forms. Like I
Right.
particularly love graphic novels, so I would
Okay.
love to have any of my books turn into a graphic novel. But yeah, we'd all love to have our stuff on the big screen and reach a wider audience that way. That would be
Right.
great. I'm sure you would too, right?
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I'm in the process of working on that right now. I'm trying to
Oh,
turn
yay.
one of my children's books into an animation. So I'm
Oh,
reaching
that's
out to some of the
fantastic.
the big production companies to see what we can do.
Well, good luck. I'll be rooting for you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, okay, so when you're not being a writer and you're not being a mom, what is Allison doing for herself?
Oh my goodness, that takes up so much time. One of those things. I don't know, like, I feel like, people enjoy my stories, don't get
Okay.
me wrong, but I feel just in real life, I'm very boring. So I like to yeah, no, I like to, the I put all my interesting stuff into my work,
Okay.
and then I just stay at home. I'm a homebody.
No, wait, now we got to work on this boring thing. Like, why are you so boring? Like, you can't be that consumed into the kids all the time.
Yeah, not all the kids, but again, I split my time between the writing and the kids. So,
Yeah, I hear you.
yeah, I also like doing art actually. That might be interesting. I don't know. I write
Yeah,
a web comic called Toddler Times, which is about, when you're a parent, you can either laugh or you can cry. And I
yeah,
I like to laugh. So
yeah,
like I put
yeah.
all the crazy incidents that happen just from being a parent, I put it into the comic and then I don't have to cry about it.
Right, right. I hear you. So,
Yeah.
your activity on social media, like, what are you doing on social media or anything at all?
I'm on pretty much all the social medias, but I'm not 100% active. I do it
Okay,
when I remember,
okay,
like most of us do. But
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so like when I'm on social media, I took it a different direction. I started showing people just a little bit more of my personality, some of the
Mm,
things that I look at. It's nothing too quirky. It's more so like actual real life stuff that happens and just random things. I'm trying to get along with social media, but I'm so old school. Like I
yeah, me
need
too.
my quiet space. Give me my computer screen and I just want to type and write sometimes.
No,
I don't
I
want to.
totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, oh, I do post this is sort of embarrassing. I do post cat videos because I
cat
have
video.
2 cats. Yeah, and those get way more engagement than anything having to do with writing. So
You know
like,
what?
you know.
I'm gonna test that out. I'm just gonna videotape a cat walking across the street and see what happens.
Any pet, I swear, and this is something that other friends of mine who are authors do also. Like, one of my friends, she's a best-selling author, and
Right.
she's like, no matter what I do, I just post. She has a little Yorkie, so she's like, I just post a picture of my Yorkie, and it immediately gets like a million likes. I'm like,
Man,
well,
I gotta see what
again,
I
we're
can do.
boring. Authors are
Yeah,
boring.
I guess so. I guess I must be boring because I don't get the millions of views.
Exactly.
All right. So, do you have any? Do you do any book readings? Uh, any book signings coming up?
Yeah, actually, I go to various, conventions, literary conventions, do some events locally in the area. Can't think of the next one. Oh, I might go do a poetry reading tomorrow. It's a open mic. I live in Canada, Edmonton. So there's the Edmonton Poetry Festival going on right now, which is
Okay.
wonderful. So a lot of poets come out and read their stuff. So yeah.
So, at those book events, are there some literary agents there that are looking for talent?
Generally there are.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's always fun. I've worked with various agents as a writing coach.
Okay.
And it's fun. They have great advice. I don't currently have an agent,
Okay.
but I'm working on that.
Okay, I was going to ask you about that. I was going to see if
Yeah.
you had one, so we can give some of the listeners some advice when it comes to having a literary agent.
Mhm.
Literary agents kind of work like publicists a little bit because they have
They
to
do.
reach out to all the publishing companies. But a publicist is just as good or even better sometimes because they have as many resources as well.
They
So
do, and I have a fabulous publicist. Just gonna do a shout out if it's okay.
that's
His
quite all
name
right.
okay. His name's Mickey Mickelson of Creative Edge, and he's wonderful, and he's just a lovely human being too.
Yeah, shout out to Mickey. Mickey, he's a good person for sure. All right, so we're on your website and you have a grand total of how many books? I know it's more than 34.
Um, written, published.
I would say probably published.
Yeah. The 34 books that I wrote last year aren't published yet, so
Okay.
they're still on their way. I have 4 published under my own name,
Okay.
and then I have about 2 dozen books that I've written for various clients as a ghostwriter.
Got you. I'm looking at your website and I see you have the Forward Indies Award, the Feather Quill Book Award. How do these awards pop up? Like what happens? Somebody reaches out to you or you submit?
Um, Both. So
Okay.
some of them your publisher will submit your book to these awards. Some of them you as the author can submit to them. My last book, The New Empire, I thought, you know, this is a really great book. Of course, authors always think that about their own work.
Yeah.
But I sent it out to awards and a few judges agreed with me, which was awesome. And yeah, I really enjoyed writing it. It was a huge project, but it definitely paid off in the end. So,
Yeah, you are a well polished author. You have quite a few awards. I will encourage everyone to go check out her website, AlisonMcBain.com. I got another question for you here. My curiosity with this life that we live, have you ever thought about your legacy and what you want your legacy to mean?
oh, of course, anyone with kids probably does,
Yeah,
right? Who's an
yeah,
author? Um, I would like. There are several things.
yeah.
One thing is I love to be a writing mentor.
Okay,
So there are a number of different authors that I've mentored over the years. Because you got to start somewhere, right?
right.
And a lot of times when you're starting out as a writer, you aren't sure where to start. And so having someone who's been there, who can be helpful is invaluable. So I do that as often as I possibly can. So I think one of my legacies is just helping others and then them being able to help others in turn. And that's something that I'm very proud of, very happy to have been in the right place at the right time and help other writers. But also, like I'm a biracial author, and I one of my main missions, not only to mentor other writers, but in my own writing, is diversity. I really want to make sure that there are diverse voices out there. And I include that in my own writing 100% in almost everything. I won't say everything because I
Right.
write a lot, but almost everything I write, I want to make sure that it shows, perspectives from around the world. So those are the two messages that I like to get out there.
I like that. I like that. That's very inspirational. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking to Alison McBain. She's the author of Author versus AI. Allison, do you have any closing words or you want to tell anybody anything else before we close out?
I think the number one thing I like to say is if you think you could be a writer, even if you think you're maybe not good enough yet, just write. Just get the words down on the page because you cannot edit a blank page. You cannot fix a blank page. Write your story. Everyone has a voice worth hearing.
Allison McBain, ladies and gentlemen, with the words of wisdom. I'm your host, Darshawn. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please go check out AlisonMcBain.com and check out her book, Author versus AI. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Thanks so much.